Okay, y'all, I must say this. First thing first. In this field, in this cosmetology field, first thing first, I had a mentor. Okay, before I even thought about opening a salon, I had a mentor. And I will recommend you, if you plan on excelling in this industry, I would recommend that you get a mentor, somebody that can guide you and lead you to something that you have never even done before. You know, it's new to you. All of it is new to you. You may get into this thing, think you know it all, but no, it's not. Okay, it's a lot of stuff that you do not learn in hair school. Okay. All right. One thing that stuck out to me that my mentor said, she said, and shout out to Tanya Wilson. If you guys are even looking for a mentor, she's phenomenal. Tanya Wilson, she was my mentor. She said, before you consider opening a salon, make sure you can pay all the expenses and everything by yourself. So that most definitely stuck with me because I always wanted to have my own salon. So that's what I did, right? Okay. Another thing too, the Bible tells us to count the costs. Okay. So what I did before I went out and I even considered looking, I went over my finances and things and see what I was making weekly. So, you know, I was making great money. So I'm like, okay, you know what? Okay, so now the fun part, right? My whole transition. So one day I was just in the salon. I was actually in the salon by myself. So at this point, I was actually a renter. And I was a renter at a salon. So I'm like, you know what? I'm about to start looking for my own salon. So this particular day in the salon, I just felt something very heavy over me just to start looking, you know, just ride out, look for empty places, right? So what I did, I seen this place particularly, so I called the number, right? But before I even called this number, y'all, I'm looking at places, I'm going around as I'm calling these places. People are just like, yeah, you got to provide plumbing, like you got to provide all this stuff, like, because the building is not set up for that. So you gotta have money for all this stuff. So I'm like, God, like, this is not what I was expecting, you know, when you out, you looking for your salon. So so I was like, okay, God, you know, this was like the first couple of days I was just riding and looking, right? This was, y'all, this that I'm talking about was even before I was in the salon and I was just like, I'm gonna go salon looking that day, right? So rewind back. So before the day that I was in the salon, I was like, I'm just gonna go looking. I was really looking, right? I was looking, and then when people was telling me that I had to provide my own plumbing and I gotta do all this other stuff, I'm like, okay, God, like, I don't want to do all that. Like, this is just no. So, you know, I went back and I prayed and I told God, I said, God, this is exactly what I want. Okay, God, I want to find a building where everything is set up. God, I want to find a building where everything is already there. Like, I don't want to have to do all that other stuff, Lord. Okay, y'all. So fast forward back to the day when I said I was in the salon. So when I was in the salon, this feeling came over me to just go out and look that particular day, right? So I was just out riding, I was looking, and I seen this particular building that I was interested in. So I called the building and I was like, hey, I see you have a business, a building for sale. So I was just trying to call and, you know, to inquire on the building. And the guy that I spoke with, he was like, you know, he was giving me information and he asked me what was it that I was trying to do. And I was like, I wanted to open a hair salon. And he was like, well, you know what? He was like, I have a building that was actually a salon. If you want to go and take a look at it. So I'm like, okay, sure. You know, so we can go and look at the, you know, we can go look at the building. We set up a time. We went and looked at the building and it was actually a salon. Okay. Everything was there. One thing, y'all, another thing that was on my prayer list, I was like, Lord, let the equipment be there. I forgot to tell y'all that. So y'all, when I went in there, it was an actual salon. They had left the chairs there. They had salon chairs. So it was like one of the traditional salons where all the stylist seats are on one side. So it was 5 stations, right? And then the people had left one of their shampoo bowls and I think one of the dryer chairs. So the only thing I had to purchase, y'all, was 2 dryer chairs I purchased and 2 more shampoo bowls. So I had 3 bowls and I had 4 dryers, right? So I was like, okay, girl, you know, we did it. We're walking through. As we're walking through, y'all, you know, he was starting talking about the rent. So he was telling me, you know, what the rent is gonna be this, right? I just be transparent with y'all. He was like, the rent gonna be $1,200 a month. So I was like, okay, you know, I was like, that's fine. Okay, because I done went through my stuff. I budgeted and I knew what I made, so I can afford $1,200 a month, you know. So I was like, cool, we can, you know, we can do that. So he was like, okay, I'm gonna get up the contract, everything. We're gonna do what it do, whatever. I was like, all right. So y'all, so you know, later on that day, I was like, you know what, God? I said, God, I don't want to pay $1,200 a month. I don't want to pay that for no building. I don't want to pay that. I don't want to pay that, God. Do you hear me? So y'all, let me tell y'all, when I met back up with that man and we began to discuss like what colors I wanted in the salon, because he was like, you know what, I mean, God really showed me favor. I didn't have to pay for none of that. He asked me what colors I want. He went painted the colors I wanted and everything. He did that for me. So I was like, this is really a God move, because God will provide. You hear me? You tell him what you want, he'll do it. So as we was talking over there and discussing all that, he was like, okay, the rent is going to be this. I looked at that man. And I was like, okay. Y'all, the man done went down on the rent, baby. He must have forgot what he told me. But in the midst of all that, I also prayed and told God what I wanted. I told God I didn't want to pay $1,200 rent. But the thing that I messed up on, because God did say be specific, I didn't give him a specific number. Okay. So the man went down on the rent. He went down on the rent $100. Now I was okay to pay the $1,200, but he went down on the rent $100. So I gave God glory for that. So I was paying $1,100 a month for that building, you know, of course, plus other expenses and stuff like that. And God blessed me too. So I was in business, paying all my bills by myself. I think I was probably in business maybe 2-3 months, and I had got a renter. So a booth renter. So, you know, they all helped out too. But like I'm saying, like I said, this is my journey with opening my salon, y'all. And when I tell y'all, God, when I pray, God, let me tell y'all one thing. God answers prayers, y'all. So in your process of wanting to own your own salon, make sure you pray and ask God to lead, guide, and direct you. And I promise you, it will be one of the best things that you have ever done, because God is not going to lead us in the wrong direction. You know, a lot of people, they go out here and they get things and they do things and they haven't consulted God, and then next thing you know, their businesses are shut down or this and that because they couldn't afford it, or because this or because of that. Okay, so I encourage y'all in y'all process of trying to open your own salon. And yes, that was rented, right? I was renting in that salon, and that's how my salon story went. So in the process of it all, pray about everything concerning your business. Pray about what moves you should make next. Like if you have a dream or anything in mind about what you're going to do, you pray about it and you ask God to lead and direct you. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment on this video. Anything that you want me to discuss about hair industry, if I know it, I promise you, I will make a video on it. Thank you guys, and stay encouraged. Remember to get you a mentor. Okay? Remember to get you a mentor before you start this thing. All right.